In this tutorial, we're going to look at how to write your body. Your body is a series of paragraphs which are designed to explain the content which support your argument. In your introduction, you'll have mentioned to the marker that there will be 3 or 4 main ideas which you'll be relying on to prove your thesis. Here, we produce 3 or 4 paragraphs which explain those ideas which support your thesis. I want to address one thing to begin with. There's a myth around that every paragraph should be between 4 to 6 lines. This is incorrect. It's something that I was taught when I was at school, and it is incorrect. A paragraph should go for as long as an idea goes for. And in this instance, you have 3 or 4 ideas. So you may be talking about CBs, purchase property, or beach nourishment. One paragraph should deal with one of those ideas in entirety. When you finish talking about that, move on to your next point. Every paragraph is made up of 5 basic elements. We refer to that as peel. The first part is point. This is where you tell your marker what the point of your paragraph will be. Next thing is that we elaborate. We mention a little bit more about our point. We add a little bit more substance to what we're saying. Then we provide an example of our content. Then we explain our example, why it's significant, what it tells us. And finally, we link back to the question. We refer to the criteria and we explain how what we do ranks up against the criteria. Let's come back and have a look at how this applies to our essay. So the first thing we should begin with is our point. Beach nourishment is the process of collecting sand and trucking it to the beach, which has a deficit of sand. All we're telling the marker is that this paragraph will be on beach nourishment. In my introduction, I mentioned that I was going to be talking about beach nourishment, CBs, and purchasing property. And here I am talking about it. We refer to this as signposting, so the marker knows where they are in the essay. Once we've done that, we introduce some elaboration. This is often used as a way of returning the beach to its natural looking state. It's just adding a little bit more substance to this concept of beach nourishment. Then we hit them with an example. The Warringah Council on the northern beaches of Sydney uses sand dredged from the Narrabeen Lagoon to spread along Narrabeen and Longreef. Here is an example of where beach nourishment has been used. But we need to explain the significance of this example. This has the effect of returning the beach to its original appearance. It's quite straightforward, that one. Now, because we're smart students, one example is not enough. We've done a lot of research, we've studied hard, we have more examples to include. So in fact, we're going to include another example. And this is, Coastwatch estimates that this process costs approximately $1 per cubic metre of sand. It also suggests that 2.5 million cubic meters are needed each time to maintain the 30-metre stretch of sand leading towards the ocean. So here we have another example and we need to explain that. This is a significant cost and the process of adding sand does nothing to address the underlying issues, and more sand will need to be trucked into the beach in the future, incurring the costs many times over. So in fact what we have here is the paragraph actually has a peel structure to it because we have more examples to talk about. So in fact you may have 2, 3 or potentially even 4 examples which you include, and every time you have an example you should explain why it's important. But in this instance let's move on. So we're now going to go to our link. So this is where we come back to the question. Stakeholders, such as business owners and tourists, may indeed favour this approach as it restores the beach to its regular state and thus maintains its natural beauty. It is possible, however, that residents who pay the rates to the council will find this option expensive, while doing nothing to actually address the underlying problem with the beach. Now this is linking back to our question because our question asked us evaluate the effectiveness of various management strategies to manage the coastal environment in terms of its impact on stakeholders. The impact on stakeholders is a criteria in this question. So here we're linking back to that by saying this is how it will affect the various stakeholders and their different views, and these are their different views on it. So what I'm doing here is I'll just insert this paragraph here on CBs. I want you to pause it and have a read. I won't run you through it exactly. I'm going to assume that you've done that. With our final paragraph, it's a shame it keeps doing that. With our final paragraph, we have the same thing. We have the same. Oh, threatened anyway. We have the same issue here. I want you to have a read of that and understand how these different aspects are at play.